It's Silly here from the Transgirl C where we talk about comics, cartoons, and other awesome nerd shit. So, as you can see, we're talking about all new Wolverine today. We got a lot to talk about because the new storyline was just packed full of stuff. We're talking about specifically Orphans of X. This is our third all new Wolverine video. Getting you prepared for the next storyline in case you haven't been reading. You should be reading. We're going to go over some broad strokes, so let's get into it. This comic was amazing. The art is always on point, but the storyline was really just great. It was some really good character development for all the characters involved in Laura's life, and you're going to kind of hopefully get what I mean when I say that when we get into it. So, let's start. We open with Logan, young Logan, getting the Muramasa blade from Muramasa. Muramasa is a magic swordsman who uses pieces of people's souls to create weapons and armor. We also find out that he made a shield to one day combat against the sword because one day he knew that Logan would need it to defend his family against the horrors of that weapon that he made. Anyway, so after that we go to Daken. Daken's in a bar, because of course he is. He's Logan's son. One thing that I really like about this series, and I think I've said it multiple times, is how Tom Taylor has taken Daken and turned him from a total fucking dickbag into somebody who's actually kind of likable. He's actually somebody who's grown as a character and become kind of important to Laura's life, and so I really just appreciate that because I've disliked Daken forever, but now I don't, because hey, he's actually a pretty decent character. So, as we're moving on, somebody walks up to Daken and he's like, hey, I know you. You're one of them Wolverines what saved Roosevelt Island from that whatever disease was happening. Hillbilly accent added for your effect. Daken's like, yeah, I am one of those people. You don't want to be bothered. I just want to drink my drink, you know. And so, thank you for recognizing me. Thank you for thinking that was cool, but I'm cool. He's like, no, let me be friendly and buy you a drink. And so, Daken's like, fine, whatever. So he gets a drink, and Daken's looking at it, he's like, well, what is it? And he's like, well, it's whiskey, of course. He's like, no, it's not just whiskey. There's something in here. I can almost smell it. And besides, you smell really nervous. Everybody in this bar smells really nervous, but you most of all. And so, there's a fight. They're like, get him! And so, there's a big fight, a brawl. Daken actually isn't killing anybody because, you know, he's become a better person. And anyway, they use electromets and a missile to basically capture him. They capture Daken. And so, slide along. Sliding over to Laura. Laura is currently dealing with Gabby. Gabby wants a superhero name. She's tired of being called Gabby while out on, patrol, while she's geared up, because it doesn't strike fear into the hearts of the people. And so Laura's like, we'll figure that out. And as she says that, she gets a call from her phone from a police detective saying to meet her somewhere. So they go to where they need to meet her, and they find Daken's arm just kind of like hanging from a telephone pole, from a wire, I don't know. It's hanging there. Laura's like, wow, that's disconcerting. That means Daken's in trouble, and I have to find Daken now. And so they pull the arm down. The arm is actually holding a note for Laura. Laura smells something off, and she's like, whoa. Okay, I know we need to find Daken, but I need a little time. It's kind of late. We'll go in the morning, guys. Like, fine, we'll go in the morning. So Gabby and Laura go home. Gabby goes to bed real early, so they get that early start. And Laura leaves in the middle of the night, because of course she does. She doesn't actually want to take Gabby where she needs to go, because what she smells on the note is the facility. The very same facility where she was created. The very same facility where she killed her mom and destroyed all her clones, and she really doesn't want to go back there, but Daken could be there and in trouble, so she goes. Actually skulking around the facility, hoping that Daken really isn't there, because, she thought she was done with the facility after killing Kimura. She does find a vat containing a person. She breaks open the vat. She's like, okay, Daken, I got you. And I was like, wait, you're not Daken? It's actually her mother, Stara Kinney, who apparently was taken inside by this organization that's hunting Laura and put in this vat to, keep her alive so they can get information on Laura. And they talk about this a little. She's like, you know, they kept asking me, you know, if I knew anything that could hurt you, what could happen, you know, if they found certain things. She's like, oh, were they asking about the Muramasa blade? I bet they were asking about the Muramasa blade. And she's like, maybe? She's like, well, it's in pieces. So, you know, we don't really have to worry about it. But I'll get somebody right on that. And so Laura makes a call. But we move over back to Dakin. Dakin is apparently chained to a table or tied up to a table. And they've been torturing him for a few days. And so torturer number one's like, I'm tired. Torturer number two's like, yeah, go get some sleep. You know, I'll take over. You haven't been able to make him talk, but I'll make him talk. And then torturer number two goes through an entire speech about how torturer number one's a really good person. She's a doctor. She takes care of sick dogs. She's made a vow not to hurt anybody. And so Dakin must be such a dickbag if she's out here, down here hurting him, right? They're also wearing these really nifty masks. You know, it's a whole thing. Orphans of X. And so he's like, so, torture number two is like, so, I know how to make you talk. I'm going to take your other arm. And instead of cutting Dakin's arm off while he's chained to the table, or, you know, strapped down to the table, he unstraps Dakin's arm, and that's why he gets shish kebabbed in the face. You know, there are claws there, man. Anyway, Dakin puts on his hood, tries to sneak out of the place. He's like, alright, I'm ready to, like, try to sneak through floors and floors of place. And it turns out he's just in a basement in a suburban home. It's really weird. And so, torture number one was like, hey, you already done? He's like, wait a minute, you're not my friend. Here's all these sick dogs I take care of. Go get them, sick dogs that I've nursed back to health. It's really weird. So, attack dogs attack. And Dakin doesn't kill any dogs. Yay, there are no dog deaths in this comic. I enjoy that, personally. Dakin gets a car and a gun, and he's like shooting out at these people in their masks, and driving all crazy. And so as this is happening, Laura kind of hears gunshots in the distance. She's like, what the, you know, Gabby, stay here and protect the people. Because not only is her mom there, but her cousin and her aunts as well. Gabby, of course, is there because she lives there. And, you know, Gabby's super psyched about Sarah being alive. She's like, that's my mom too, technically. And I can't wait to watch all these princess movies with her. Because Gabby is a treat and I love her. So, Laura goes out, finds out it's Dakin, brings Dakin inside because he's like, people are after me. She's like, nobody's after you. There was nobody behind you. You're just, you know, probably crazy from wherever you've escaped from. And, you know, that's reasonable. So, Dakin's like, who's this? Pointing to Laura's mom. And she's like, oh, that's my mom. He's like, really? That's your mom? Your dead mom? I don't think so. Bang, bang with my gun. Shoots Laura's mom. Laura goes crazy, of course. He lets Laura, like, basically beat the crap out of him because you'd let somebody beat the crap out of you if you shot their mom. Okay? At least I would, because I guess I'm some kind of a decent human being. Hopefully I wouldn't be shooting people's mothers. Anyway. Not important. So, Sarah calls Laura over. She's like, wait, got one last thing to tell you. And this is where things get a little fucked up because their different voice comes through Sarah Kinney's voice box, I guess. Her eyes start glowing. They're like, we're coming for you. This wasn't really your mom. It's a clone. We're evil. So, I'm paraphrasing. So Laura's like, let's go get him. Dakin's like, well, they're looking for the Muramasa blade. She's like, yeah, but Captain America's already taken care of that. I made a call. He's like, you made a call in front of the clone? She's like, oh. And which is a good thing to be like, oh, because they actually stopped Captain America. Not Captain America, Captain Marvel. They stopped Captain Marvel, basically kamikaze-ing a mech suit into her, and they take the pieces of the blade for themselves. Dang. Happens. Anyway. So, Laura's like, okay, new change of plans. We're going to Madripoor because we need help. They try to go to Madripoor, and they get attacked by the Orphans of X again. This time they're wielding lots of guns. And they start shooting them. It turns out that they've turned the Muramasa blade into tons of bullets. Maybe they're just putting, like, tiny pieces in, so they're making a bunch of ammo. I don't know. And those properties are going over to the bullets. It's weird. They make a bunch of bullets out of a katana. I don't know how they did it. I mean, obviously they melted it down, but how they made so much ammunition, I don't know. Anyway, so they're flying on the Blackbird, which was sent from Madripoor, and Laura's like, cannot do this. We need to go to where the sword was created. We need to go to Japan. And so, book it to Japan. Of course, they're being tracked, and so the Orphans of X know to go to Japan to look for them. It's a big thing. It's a big organization. But they make it to Japan, and they make it back to Muramasa, who's like, she's like, hey, I'm Laura. This is, Dakin. This is Gabby. And we're being shot by these things. Can you tell me what they are? He's like, oh, those are bullets made from my sword. This is the bastardization of my work. Yeah, come inside. He's like, I made a shield, to protect against the sword, but a shield's no good in a gunfight, so we need to make something bigger, something better. And to do that, I'm going to need a piece of each of your souls. So he takes a piece of Laura, Gabby, and Dakin, and he forges something cool and new for Laura to use in the fight. I love it. It's a suit of armor. It's really cool. Laura's checking it out. She's like, wow, it's really light. And he's like, yeah, Dakin's soul really weighed it down, but Gabby's soul really lightened it up. Don't know how it worked, but it's fine. Whatever. Laura's soul brought balance. Cool deals. Which is another kind of just way to say that throughout this comic, she's really gotten, to know herself better and become just this really cool character. We're going to kind of get more into that. So, like I said, we got a lot to cover, so I'm trying to cover it all. Dakin's trying to mac on Laura's cousin. Laura's like, stop it. Not at all. Gabby's talking about how she still needs a superhero name. This kind of all happened in the Black Wing, so, I'm kind of jumping back a little bit, because it's very important to tell you that Gabby does get a superhero name. Dakin dubs her the Honey Badger, and she's like, that's perfect. And we get a great scene of different Wolverine comics with Gabby's face on it, and they're all titled the Honey Badger. It's a great panel. If nothing else, see that panel, because it's really good, and a lot of work and detail went into it. Let's get into it. So, they've been healing up, from their pieces of their souls being taken. This thing's done. And as it's done, and Laura's, checking it out, the hand appears, because apparently Orphans of X have a high-ranking hand member who's a part of them. And so, great, right? And so the hand attacks. And we're given a scene, towards the end of the comic, where Logan, Old Man Logan, Lady Deathstrike, and Sabretooth are all, down on their knees, hands behind their backs, and people use the Muramasa bullets to shoot them in the head. Not good. So, moving on, hand attack. So, they're fighting the hand. Dagon's like, this is dumb, there's just tons of them. Laura's got the armor on, it looks super duper cool. I really love it. And Dagon's like, this is crazy. We can't fight all of the hand, especially when they have, Orphans of X members, shooting bullets at us. Eventually a bullet's going to get past Laura and kill one of us. So my plan is to cut a hole in my side, take Hot Cousin's cell phone, stick it in me, and let y'all track me that way. It's a good plan. It's a bad plan. It's not good. But it works. So he does that. Takes the cell phone, cuts himself open, gives himself up to the Orphans of X. They're like, hey, we got one of them. One's better than none. Let's run. And Laura's like, what the f*** is that? They tell her, well, he cut himself open, put his cell phone aside, told us to tell you to track him. So they do that. They do track him back to the Orphans of X headquarters. They sneak in, and they resuscitate him by really bad surgery. Basically, they cut away the bad parts left behind by the bullet so that new good stuff can grow in its place, and it gets back up. They do the same for Old Man Logan, Sabretooth, and Lady Deathstrike, and they're like, alright, we're going to go kill some people. And Laura's like, no, we're not going to kill anybody, because something just, doesn't add up. So they're skulking around the building, and they come up to a room where they're like, hey, there are Orphans of X members above us, you know, let's bring them down to our level. And they cut the support beam for the entire floor. Whole floor falls down. They fight. Flora throws the Miramasa shield at one of the guys, all Captain America style. It's really great. And so they knock all of them out but one. They're like, hey, where's your control room? We're putting a stop to this. They're like, hey, we don't have a control room. We get all our information via email, newsletters. And Laura finds out that the Orphans of X aren't a big evil organization. They're just people who have been hurt by people who have released Logan onto the populace, people who have hired out Laura's services when she used to be a brainwashed child. You know, there are people who have been hurt by people with claws, more or less, who have been hurt by people using the people with claws to hurt their people they love. So they're just survivors, more or less, of these terrible atrocities that they've been forced to carry out. So Laura's like, okay, Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike, you need to leave because I need to talk to these people, and you being here is just terrible. So they leave. And Laura goes to talk to these people. She goes to talk to them in the armor. And as she's talking to them, she's like pulling off, you know, parts of the armor so they can see that she's leaving herself really exposed, so they'll listen. She's like, look, I get it, all right? I killed people that you loved. It's not really my fault. You know, I've really, you know, let that behind. I was a brainwashed child. I, you know, didn't have any control over myself. You know, I was being used. And if you'll let me, I'll track down anybody who ever paid the facility to release me, anybody who ever paid the Weapon X program to send out Wolverine, Sabretooth, or Lady Death, like your loved ones. I'll find those people and I'll bring them to justice. I won't kill them, but you'll get justice. And so at the end of a vote, they agree to Laura's things because they're like, yeah, that makes sense. Laura's like, I'm one of you because I was, you know, traumatized by what happened too. You know, mind control. And that's kind of where the comic ends, with them agreeing to this. It's really, really great because it really speaks for how far Laura has come as a character. She's not, you know, kicking down doors. She's still being the Wolverine, but she's found a way to do it where she doesn't have to kill anybody. She gets the job done, and she can do it with amazing amounts of compassion and understanding. Like, honestly, they all could have killed every single member of the Orphans of X, and in some ways been justified because when, you know, somebody's hunting you down, you have the right to defend yourself. But instead, she decided to talk it out and try to make them see reasons for how she technically wasn't at fault and how sorry she was for any role that she had in what happened, even if she was under mind control. And so I just think that's really cool. I think Tom Taylor did an amazing job with this series, and I hope he continues to do a great job. Old Woman Laura, that's the next big thing. We're going to get a couple of comics with Gabby and Deadpool hanging out together. I can't wait to read those. They're going to be fun. They're going to be silly. But until next time, I'm Fire Princess Lily. This has been Transgirl C. Until next video, love comics, love cartoons, and I'll see you then. Bye.